Well, welcome back everybody. We're going to talk about the Torsion 3.0 from Bravo Concealment today. So I got this holster for a very specific reason, a specific type of carry. And that for me is, it's in the summer months now where I live in the state of Arizona, and it's going to be every bit of 100 to 120 degrees for probably the next, 3 months, around that time frame. Now that's some pretty unbearable heat, and when you're in that heat generally and you're out doing your thing, you're not going to be wearing big baggy clothing. You're probably gonna be wearing, something like shorts, cargo shorts like I got on now, a t-shirt, maybe board shorts, maybe gym shorts. Now the reason I got this style of holster is because for me, it does a lot for what I needed to do during those warmer months. It allows me to wear that gun on my body more often than not, because I don't want to get in the situation where I'm wearing off body. That's my least optimal, my least favorite way to carry. I know there are great options out there for that, but if I can do anything to keep that gun on my person, I'm going to do that. When it comes down to holster choice, guys, a lot of that's gonna be body type, clothing, and weather. You're probably not going to be wearing a jacket or a thicker garment up top in those summer months. In the wintertime though, you can get away with a lot of gear being tucked in that belt line. But for me right now, I had to make a decision. Do I want to go with an appendix style rig again? Do I want the appendix rig that has the flexibility to it? A standard appendix rig with a sidecar style design, or a more singular style holster like this one from Tuck Tight. Now there are a couple of different things that come into play when you're talking about these different holsters. And like I said, body mechanics, body type, and clothing, which is usually going to be dependent on that weather. So with those three things into account, you kind of got to figure out where you want to wear it. Now this specific Torsion 3.0 that I have on here today, this is non-weapon mounted light setup, and I got it this way for a reason, because if I am wearing this, then I'm probably running very light clothing. I may just be coming out of the gym, going into the supermarket. I may be wearing board shorts that entire day. And I want something that's going to be very minimalistically designed and allow me to carry, either my 19 or even like a 43 or 43X, something like that, depending on what your choice for that day is. Now, when it also comes to a holster design like this, I really like having 2 retention clips on them. And that was kind of one of the things that I liked about the Bravo Concealment setup over some others, is the retention aspect. Now, those big, thick single clips on the front, I've had issues with those almost working their way off belts over the years. So I really do like the dual clip design a little bit better. There is also, it's very hard to tell, but there's actually a cant built into this holster itself. When these clips are flat, you can actually see the pistol grip of the gun is kind of canted down. And that's built into the gun. Not only if you're wearing an appendix rig, it'll kind of keep it tight into the body, but if you're wearing it at 3 o'clock, it's going to keep it tight to your hip line. And that's actually a pretty dang cool design. And then there is some adjustment in here. Now we're going to look at this thing up close for sure, and I'm going to go over the benefits that are built into this holster. But I also kind of want to show you guys how I wear it, how I would draw from it, and kind of the belt that I wear. Now, you've got to have a good belt. Worst case scenario, if you've got like a drawstring, if you're wearing gym shorts or a pair of board shorts or something, it will do the job. But optimally, guys, you want a solid belt on, unless you just don't have one, or you're running super light like you just left the gym or something. This will still get the job done, but obviously not the most effective retention method in there if you don't have a good quality belt. So we'll go ahead and we'll get into this thing, kind of show you how it wears on the body real quick, and then how I would draw it, because it's not as easy as some people think, as just throwing this in there and then hoping you can go for it and get it out in time should you ever need to. So we'll go ahead and we'll pull this lens out so you guys can get a good shot of what's going on here. And I'll kind of show you how to wear this, and then how I would draw it, and how I think you guys should practice with it as well. So I will definitely keep this part of it short so you don't have to awkwardly stare at my crotch any longer than you want to or have to. But this is pretty much how this is going to conceal. Right now I'm pretty much in the appendix. I run it a little bit off to the right as compared to some other people may. But as you can kind of see, it conceals pretty dang well. I get a little bit of printing when I start turning to the side. You can see right there, and that is because I am running the SLR magwell, which does add, I want to say about an eighth of an inch, maybe a little bit more than an eighth of an inch of thickness to that pistol grip. So that is definitely something to keep into account as well. But I'm wearing a very sturdy belt here. This is my EDC belt right here from Blue Alpha Gear. This is their hybrid Cobra buckle belt. It's small enough, it's made to go through pretty much any belt loops on pants. And I find it just to be very rigid but not uncomfortable, and then it's very easy to get on and off. It's also very quick to get on and off once you adjust it and get that thing kind of fine-tuned. So when it comes to the appendix rig, now the way that this one is set up, you can actually wear it as the appendix rig, or you can swap it over to that 3 o'clock position off to the side, and that is how some people choose to wear holsters. Now I choose not to wear a holster like that because of my actual body mechanics. When I wear a holster like this, it is very comfortable and it is very concealable. As you guys can tell, you may get a little bit of printing, but most people probably aren't going to notice it. For me, it's being able to clear the garment and get to it. I have a tough time just because of how I am built of getting to this. You can see how I have to contort my body and where my hands are. I would much rather have a hand here so I can get up and block than have a hand way, be back over here. So I choose not to carry that way, although the way that this is designed, it conceals very good and very comfortably. I'm going to run right here in the front, which is pretty typical for just about every holster that I have. So again, you can see conceals well, both from the left, the right side. You can see standing straight up. If I push my stomach out a little bit, you'll obviously see it. So if you've got a little bit of that tactical tummy, you may be able to see it there. But if you're in decent shape, you're going to conceal pretty dang well on it. Now when it comes to drawing, like I said, you need that good belt. And that's also why I like dual clips, because it gives a lot of retention for that holster. There's not that side-to-side movement you get sometimes with other single style clips. Now the draw. When you guys draw from an appendix rig, the first thing is, are you in your optimal position? Are you in a situation when you're forced to draw right away, you don't have an option, or are you in a situation where you can get to cover concealment and get that draw out and go to work if you have to? And that's situationally dependent on the situation you're presented with at the time. Either way, the draw is going to be pretty much the same. You need to defeat your garment, you need to make the purchase on that pistol grip, get a good grip on it, you need to exit the holster, get into that initial firing position, and then make that grip and go to work. Whether it's one-handed or two-handed, depending on the situation you're in. So defeating that garment, now you need to defeat that garment as close to that holster as possible, because if you pull up here, you've got no access to your gun as well still. What you need to do is you need to remember, you should, obviously, where that is on your body, defeat that garment. Some people just use a thumb to get up underneath it. I like to actually grab my whole shirt now. And that's going to be kind of dependent on the clothing you're wearing, whether you're wearing a button-down shirt or a jacket you need to throw to the side. Really depends on what you are, but you're most likely going to be lifting something at some point to gain access to your firearm. Now, I like to bring that shirt up to about chest level. And the reason I say that is because it allows me to get a good purchase without having any of this garment in my way. It allows me to draw and get to the initial firing position, which is right here, should I have to start firing immediately. It also allows me just to drop whatever garment is in my hand and begin pressing out and getting in that actual firing position. So that's going to kind of be dependent on whatever situation you're presented with. You may have to go from that holster to here and begin blocking like this if you are being instantaneously attacked. Really depends on the situation you're in, guys, but ultimately you'd like to get that out, get to here if you have to, and then get that full grip punch out and do what you need to do. Now this is something that needs to be practiced, guys. Don't just buy an appendix rig without doing at least dry firing, or at least dry holstering. Make sure there's no ammo in the same room, and do some practice work, because it's not just as easy as people think to have that automated response of doing all of these steps, as it is just going for something on your belt line that's exposed. It is more difficult. Now let's talk about reholstering, everybody, because this is something that I don't see a lot of people actually addressing. And you can see a lot of people out there doing these really quick, under 1 second draw and 1 round firing, and that's awesome. And that's gonna help you in a situation, but let's think about reholstering. There have been a lot of people out there who have taken a round or AD'd, negligent discharge, putting that weapon away. And there's a couple different reasons for that. One could be the trigger finger is too close to the trigger guard. Two could be a garment getting in the way. I have personally seen a couple different videos of bungee cording on different long sleeve shirts or pullovers or jackets that have entered that trigger guard from either side upon reholstering and caused a negligent discharge. Now that's obviously a bad day if you're carrying the appendix style. If you're carrying back at 3 o'clock, not as bad, but still not going to be a good day. So when I reholster, I take my time. And the reason for that is because if we're reholstering, we should be safe. Everything should be good to go, or we're being told to put that firearm away. So after we've done whatever we need to do, we're going to be scanning, clearing, making sure there's nothing else there. Same kind of step. I'm going to grab my clothing close to that holster. I'm going to get it up to that mid chest line. I'm going to do one last look, make sure things are good. And then I'm actually going to take a very noticeable look down towards that holster, and I'm going to reposition my thumb up. And the reason for that is I don't want to get caught on anything heading back down into that holster, because if you get caught, it's likely going to drive that muzzle in towards your body. That's not optimal. So I reposition my thumb up, I look down, I get that muzzle in, and then I actually kind of cant it away from my body. I just bring my elbow in and I finish holstering. The reason I do that is because it keeps that muzzle pointed away from my body should anything be able to enter that trigger guard. Now, everyone's going to do things a little bit different. That's just how I do it, guys. Whichever way you do it, you definitely need to go practice. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to get up close to this thing right now, check it out. I'm going to show you all those fine details that Bravo Concealment has worked into that holster. And then we're going to go ahead and finish this up and kind of tell you guys what my final thoughts are, and if I'm going to carry this in the future, or if I would buy it, because they did send this one to me for free. So we're going to go ahead and check this thing out right now. All right, so we were up close checking out the Bravo Concealment Torsion 3.0. Let's just go ahead and go over the fit and finish of this thing first of all. Now, this is a new design. This is an injection molded like polymer composite, which is supposed to be much more impact resistant, yet still kind of flexible and comfortable, and still retains that, you know, that usability, versatility of Kydex and polymer kind of in one. So the fit and finish of this, as you guys can see, absolutely awesome. I mean, look at the intricate detail they were able to get up into the design of this, and that has to go with the molds that they get made for these holsters, which my understanding is are pretty dang expensive. But you can see the level of detail that we do get in these holsters, and the retention on them is extremely nice, to say the least. So let's talk about the hardware. So Bravo Concealment always consistently has used very good hardware in all of their holsters that I have owned, and even the older ones that some of my buddies own that turned me on to Bravo Concealment. Definitely good stuff. Now, this specific one is ready for an RMR. It is cut down for an RMR right there. It is ready for the 0355 suppressor height sights. Threaded barrel, has that extension right there, so it'll keep it away from your skin a little bit, even with that thread protector on it. Depending on how big the thread protector is, I found most of mine did fit in there. Now, some people like a closed off, you know, end portion, and some people like an open end portion. If you have it open, you can generally carry anything from a 19 to a 34 in there if you would like. Now, as far as adjustability goes on this one, we do have some. So inside this clip, I know it's a little tough to see up in there, but we do have adjustability in there. You've got a couple of different holes. I know it's tough to see, but there is movability up and down. I have moved this up to the most highest holes that I can. And the same with the opposite side. We've actually got a lot of options in here as far as movement goes from one side to the other to make that clip a little closer. You can even angle it a little bit. You've got a couple different spaces there. And then this is a little bit new for Bravo Concealment. You get that retention adjustment right here in that trigger guard area. But you can see how nicely that this holster actually, it looks very appealing, very comfortable, and extremely light just due to that composite injection molded design that they have. Now, they do fit Gen 3, 4, and 5. Gen 1 and 2 will not fit in here. Polymer 80s do not fit in here, and the CZ P10Cs won't fit in here as either. I know some people say that the P10Cs will fit in most of the Glock 19 holsters, but they don't, from my experience. Some do, some don't. Just depends on, you know, how tightly they're either vacuum formed or pressure fit to the holster. And you can see this really nice design up in here where the actual trigger guard is. When you're coming down in here to grab, instead of hitting just a hard edge of Kydex, they've actually sectioned that out Very, very nice. They give you a nice flush edge when you're actually coming in there to grab the pistol grip of that firearm. Let's go ahead and check the retention here real quick. I'll grab my 19 Gen 5, which I bought this for, and check it out. Actually, guys, I just went ahead and grabbed a couple of things that we were going to check out in here. Everything from a Gen 4 19 to a 45, and then my Gen 5 19 as well. Pop this light off here real quick. It's that Olight, that PL Malcury Mini 2. We got a review on those coming out soon. So very nice lockable retention. You can see not coming out of there, and it is still adjustable. This is actually fairly loose on that retention screw. I barely tightened it a little bit, and there is plenty more retention to go. But again, you can see in that trigger guard in there, it gives you a very nice area to go in there and grab without hitting any hard edges of that Kydex. A lot of holsters that come way up in here, kind of mash your knuckle on it when you pull them out. So that's a Gen 5 19 right there. Actually just got those new, the Night Vision blue front sight. That's actually pretty dang cool. I like the way that those came out on there. So go ahead and check that Gen 4 19C. Again, fits in there very well. This holster is adjusted for the Gen 5. So dimensionally, the Gen 5 is a little bit bigger. So if you're running a Gen 4, you may have to tighten it a little bit. And then the 45 obviously is the 17 grip with the 19 slide. Fits in there, locks in very nice as well, and it is not coming out. So definitely nice setup, will work for, like I said, Gen 3, 4, 5, the 45, the 19. So definitely a good setup, guys. Digging this design here. It's doing everything I need it to. So we'll go ahead, we'll get back into the chair and we will finish this up. In all, I think I'm going to be carrying this holster quite a bit. I really do like the design angle that they have put in this, that kind of 10-degree cant, the dual clips, and the fact that it is very form fit and allows me to run a very streamlined setup for that day. Now, everybody's going to be a little bit different, and Bravo Concealment, like I said, they kind of make a very specific line of holsters. They don't make a ton of different styles or sidecar designs, and the reason they do that is because what they do make, they actually make very well. That also does, like I said, give you that option for the RMR, a threaded barrel, suppressor height sights, and all that. And they do make a light bearing version as well. It's just for me specifically, I wanted one without a light on it because this is something that I would be wearing in extreme hot weather, those minimalistic styles of clothing. I may just not have a belt on to retain the weight of an additional light on there or something like that. Generally, I will carry a light on almost every weapon that I do have, but this is something that's going to be pretty specific to what I am wearing that day. The overall construction of this holster is quite good. I don't think you can go wrong with pretty much any Bravo Concealment product. They do a very good job on what they make, and it's good. This new style, new design, the ability to get a little bit more retention, you can adjust that retention on there, just works out quite well. And the price point, I want to say there's a sale on these every so often. You can get them like, you know, that $30 to $40 range. That's pretty dang good for what you're getting out of these, for the quality that goes into them between the fasteners, the injection molding process, and the options that come integrated into that holster. So I would definitely have bought this if they didn't send it to me for free. I was actually gonna buy one, and I just happened to send them an email, and they're like, yeah, we'll send you one out to try. So I'd really appreciate that. It's awesome to be able to get more content to put out there for you guys, and I hope that this helps you guys make a decision on what style of holster, or maybe some of that practice you need to do, or belt, or anything like that. And I will leave links for all that stuff down below for you guys. If there's anything that's not on there that you're looking at, check that first link in the description, and it'll take you to a page where everything's listed for you guys to check out. But like I said, I hope this gave you something to think about. I hope it maybe steered you in the right direction. I look forward to seeing you guys again. If you like what's going on with the channel, hit the subscribe button for me. If you need those notifications, that bell icon's over there as well. So stay safe and stay ready, guys. Practice with your gear, and I will see you guys on the next one.